A mysterious chopper crash, an hours-long search, and a dead president. It's what conspiracy theorists live for. You can spin it any way you want. Some are blaming Israel, some are blaming the US, and some are even blaming space lasers. It's all very absurd and baseless, but right now it could also be dangerous. We are talking about a nervous regime here. A regime with many enemies around the world, so the goal should be clarity, not conspiracies. At the same time, it's important to keep track of what's being said, even though some of these claims are absolutely wild. Let's show you theory number one, a Mossad hit job. Mossad is Israel's spy agency. They're famous for James Bond-style operations, so many social media accounts say Mossad did it. And Mossad have taken out Iranian officials in the past, including nuclear scientists. But taking out a president is high risk. It's an open act of war. Hamas accounts say the chopper's pilot was Israeli, a Mossad agent. Wait for it, a Mossad agent named Eli Copter. A few news channels, in fact, fell for it. But frankly, it's a stretch. Israel gains nothing by killing Raisi in the middle of a war. It would actually be counterproductive. Nonetheless, Israel is worried about these reports. One of their officials has even reacted. He had just one thing to say: it wasn't us. And it's important to set the record straight because conspiracy theories get a life of their own. Which brings us to the second theory, a US hand. Again, there is precedent here. The Americans have a history of hit jobs overseas, which is why Washington is in damage control.
The United States had no part to play in that crash, and that's a fact, plain and simple. It could be a number of things: mechanical failure, pilot error, you name it. So.
How about that? Iran has not blamed the US for the crash, yet Washington says it wasn't us. Again, chances are they're right. Joe Biden is struggling to contain one war in West Asia. It's unlikely he would start a second one. Having said that, the US does have an indirect role in this. Raisi was flying an old American helicopter, a Bell 212 model from the 1960s. Now, aircraft require regular maintenance and repairs, but Iran couldn't do that. Why? Because of Western sanctions. So some Iranians do hold the US responsible for their president's death. Like former Foreign Minister Javad Zarif, listen to what he said. One of the culprits behind yesterday's tragedy is the United States, because of its sanctions that bar Iran from procuring essential aviation parts. Well, on paper, he's right, but the sanctions did not come from thin air. It was the result of Iran's nuclear program, so blaming the US does not really help, and you had decades to look for alternatives or build your own. Now let's look at theory number three, an internal power struggle. Raisi was expected to succeed Ayatollah Khamenei as Iran's supreme leader, but now they need a replacement. A lot of pundits are betting on this man, like we told you, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of Iran's current supreme leader. The question is, did his supporters sabotage Raisi's chopper? Well, he certainly had the motive. Look at what a former US advisor on Iran has said. I'm quoting again. Internal pundits had believed the competition to succeed Khamenei as supreme leader was down to Mojtaba and Raisi. If Raisi is dead, Mojtaba becomes heir apparent. I know, very Game of Thrones. But motive alone is not enough. You need the means to pull something off. Khamenei handpicked Raisi to become Iran's president, to possibly even succeed him. Would his son dare to kill that protege? Again, highly unlikely. Mojtaba's claim is already a bit weak. Most regime loyalists do not like the idea of hereditary succession. So even Raisi's death does not assure his elevation. Which brings us to the last theory, theory number 4, and probably the weirdest of them all. Space lasers. A lot of social media accounts are posting this. They claim that Raisi's chopper was shot down using lasers. Needless to say, it's fake. But why space lasers? Because it's a popular anti-Semitic trope. Let me take you back to 2018. The US state of California was hit by wildfires. Most experts said climate change made it worse, but one politician had a different take. Her name was Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a far-right Republican, and she said that Jewish space lasers caused these wildfires, and since then others have picked it up. It has become a popular anti-Semitic trope. Like I said, all this sounds absurd, even borderline funny, but we should not let these theories fester. What if they rally public opinion in Iran? What if the regime buys into them? These are all very risky scenarios, which is why Israel and the US were quick to set the record straight. They did not wait for Iran to blame them. They preemptively rejected all of it. The question is, how can we stop these theories from blowing up? Well, that depends on Iran. They're investigating the helicopter crash. Let's hope they find the actual cause. It was most likely a technical issue or bad weather. Once Iran confirms it officially, we can breathe a sigh of relief. Until then, it's conspiracy theory central.
Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison LaGrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. South Africa goes to the polls on the 29th of May. I will track the election and bring you ground reports. Is it the end of the road for the African National Congress? And will former President Jacob Zuma stage a dramatic comeback? From elections to climate change, to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global South. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Ebrahim. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.